I honor all leaders of India according to Indian constitutions. Now let me deliver speech in connections with Nganukon problems that there were so many cookies. Terrorists therein, according to Cookie Chong's there's Nganukon areas where is that Kumbi peoples, so many fields there, but all agricultures of the Kumbi peoples were failed due to Kuki terrorists terrorized against the India government as well as Meitei communities. That's why Kuki people, those who hold special arm and ammunition, that guns, they fusilade from there to the areas of the Meitei peoples. There were so many army and security force, that they never do any work and they were mindless, but any actions were not taken by the security personnel. According to media I listened to, that where the Nganukon areas that the Meitei communities, so many fields were totally fell due to the Kuki terrorized from the May 3rd, 2020 to till 2026, even that never ending way, they continues once again. That must not be done according to Articles 19. According to Article 19, Kuki must not demand separate administrations to the Meitei as well as to the Indian government, because according to Article 19, no any communities of India must not be separate demandings to demand. We Meiteis can go and we Meiteis can dwell in the hill areas according to the Meitei genealogies, according to the Meitei histories. Meiteis were successive kings, rulovers in Meitei Laybaks. All lands of the hill areas and the sunny valley areas were occupied by the successive king of Meitei Laybaks. That's why Kuki terrorists, those who are introduced against the India government, they act terrorists and they assassinate many Meitei in the areas of the Kumbi Haukdag, and they assassinated to the Ningtagong area and some where part of this Manipur, they assassinated and they kidnapped young child, single girl, and old one. This war they assassinate. That's why these are the Indian constitutions. Beside that, I question, and why did even today's never ending? What about the who will suggest to finish this type of these terrorist activities? National highways also totally stop, and they demand that money without the consent of the governors, without the consent of the Manipur state governments, and without the consent of the governor of Manipur, without the consent of the chief of army staff, without the consent of the DIG, DJP, so many leader of India is being there. That's why I said they were terrorists against the Meitei and the Indian governments. How to resolve, how to solve against. There is no new government forms at present and the future until and unless to repulse them, to drive them to bring solutions. Otherwise, they will continuously being done such types of these aggressions to the India and the disturbance of more about the power and the function of the governments. Now we need to discuss about as a Indian citizen. I am one of them. I live in Kumbi location under the Bishampur district. I was a farmer. All the work of the farmers in the nook and the corner of the Manipur were also disturbed by the Kuki terrorists to the India government as well as Meitei communities. Beside that, all hospital, education department, all office of the government, transport and the import system all were disturbed by the Kuki terrorists due to the reasons why all were failed. Not to fail once again, we need again to discuss. No right to be given to the Kuki terrorists because they are not, according to the Indian constitutions, Meiteis were really strives to leave them. right to Francis is only the indigenous people to be given. Other externals, either intruders, those who are illegal actions against our country, against our inlands, all are disturbed by them, should not be right given to Francis, the voting right. That's why no election commission of the India not to further arrangements until that resolve that about the solve that resolution until to bring that about the cookie terrorize against us. That's why Nganukon areas cookie fusilated where from the trunks of the cookie area security person could not identify and could not repulse them. And why did so many times the cookie assassinated many Maitais, where one of these farmers also assassinated to the areas nearby the areas of the Nganukols, that one young woman was shot dead. They assassinated, they means cookie assassinated one. Even that, the government of India, they did not see and they did not ordain action, not taken even 2 days against. And once again, recently, according to the mass media on this mobile phone and everywhere of this newspaper and here hue and cries are being happening. So all Maitais were those who were really camps also their homeless according to that of the cookie demanded separate administration. That's why to the main points I need again to remind you that you are the leader of India, you are the president of India, you are the one of the prime minister of our India, you are representative to our more work to be function to be carried out. So I remind, as one of the citizens of the Indians, because is the how to keep peace. That's there were so many armies, so many Indian army and state army, state force and police lighted that areas is that cookie distant that's to fusilate and they assassinated Maitai. Why did not such type of these conditions, not urgent actions being not taken by the government of India? That's why there is a questionable. That's why, according to Article 19, that Maitais can go anywhere of these Manipurs, beside that of the anywhere of the India. That is our constitutions. According to the president rule, there is no present government nowadays. That's why president rule is being enacted. That's why no one could not resolve and no one could not finalize such type of these assassinations being done and the fusilations being done by the cookie terrorists. Cookie terrorists were not Christians. Those who are Christians not to disturb either state of any individual people, either state of the proletariat, either state of the lightest people, that they were nominal Christians. That's why did they fusilate to kill, to hurt of that? That's why many functions of these governments of India, present and past, also very nice. I thank many leaders of the Indias, but problems is that for some days, that once again they started aggressions and terrorized to the Maitais to fusilate. That many armies were there, but no action is being taken. How to take action either state according to the some president rules. The president was chief of our countries. Power and the functions of the presidents were emergency powers, financial power, legislative powers, judicial powers, money powers, military powers. There were so many diplomatic powers also in her hands, in his or her hands, during his tenures, means during his pharaohs. That's why no actions being not taken even today. That's why Many of the powers in his or her that, according to the tenors, he can appoint prime minister, he can appoint the chief minister, he can appoint chief of army staff, president can appoint judicial, for the judicial, chief justice, high court, session court, so many under his hand. That's why president's rules was nowadays enacted in Manipur, because all the elected members in the name of the Francis, according to the voting right, it cannot be resolved. That's why the president's rule is being imposed in Manipur. That's why so many times the Kuki terrorists assassinated Maitai. Maitai were not wrong. Maitais were really tribe of Manipur, but Kuki were not really tribes. All facilities of this tribe and the title given, that financial given, all must be cancelled from the Kuki terrorists, because they are terrorized against our governments. Who are governments? We all are together called governments. How to govern our country? That's why, according to the articles of 360, national emergency were declared. It can be declared. Now, in these conditions, why cannot means not to see such type of the leaders. When his or her tenor, she can carry out such peaceful to bring to all the citizens of the Indias. There is no nuisance, but peacekeeping is the right times is that. Chief of air marshals also can be appointed by the president. How in this function of the powers of these presidencies we can not mention to fulfill, but now supreme commanders. Who was the supreme commanders? I mean that now president was a supreme commanders to defend India. Any foreigners, either that of the any intruders trying to disturb in his or her lands at this time, he will be declared. What declares emergency powers? In 1962, there was the emergency power being declared in others to the China aggressions India. And then after this, now in the year of 1971, India and Pakistan's war there happenings these times, emergency power is being happenings. And then after this, now in the year of 1975, inner disturbance were happening during this time, emergency powers being declared through that of the president. That's why we need again to consult and to discuss about the internal and external affairs, to see and to discuss that it was long since to postpone, not urgent actions is not being taken up by the president, either that of this old leader of the India, that may be Congress, that may be BJP. Our country will be failed thereby days, and our country will be in the hands of this who influence in India's, who are the ringleaders, who are the head of the, who supplied arms, ammunitions to the Kuki terrorists. Kuki openly screw poppy without the permissions of our honorable government, our honorable president, and the Kuki deal drug and the foil drug secretly. I mean, the foil means secretly from neighbor state to others. They did drug wars to lose the humanities of the lives. So that's why I report that the Kuki were terrorists and Kuki were not Christian. This is the Christian doctrines. Christian doctrine is there to help men, those who are suffer, to that free from the sin. That's why they name Jesus Christ. I refute that. They were not Jesus followers. According to the Jesus teaching, there were not such type of the conditions. That's why Please like and subscribe to everybody to spread the type of this social science education as a part of the education for all students, not to further happening such crime and crisis in India as well in Manipur. Meitei was so many high talented person and they were high morals, not like the cookie terrorists. Cookie wires all demoralized, I say now. To say this much, let me conclude for today's delivered speech. May God bless all the leader of BJP, all the leader of the Congress, those who I honor in the name of God. See you again. Until then, goodbyes.